Let's get started. As always, let's go ahead and work through our breathing. We're going to do box breathing for those who have been here before. If you haven't been here before, that's okay. Box breathing is where you breathe in and count to 4. You hold for 4, up with full breaths. Then you exhale, which takes another 4 counts. And then you hold out for 4 counts. So let's try it. Okay. Sit up straight. For those of you who don't know, Taoism has this belief in what's called the Dantian. Dantian is your energy factory. When you get into Qigong and internal alchemy, we believe that your body is a factory that creates energy. You don't just wake up and have energy like a battery and then use it and then charge up during your sleep and then use it. It takes movement to make energy. So, whenever you do Qigong, whenever you move, it's helpful to remember that is where all of your energy comes from. This is my belly button. I'm sitting down, but just below that, just a little bit below that is your dantian. So that's where we want to breathe from. So when you breathe in, you want to extend your stomach naturally. Don't hold that in. Don't hold the tension in. And then when you breathe out, you want to exhale all the way through. And I know I should be standing for this, but I'm in my bedroom because it's pouring rain outside, so I don't get to touch grass right now. So we're gonna do it here. Okay, here we go. And I'll kind of tap my fingers here so you know how fast I'm counting. Ready? Cool. Good job, guys. The other breathing method I want to do, this is the one I prefer, but most of everyone prefers the first one, is what's called 478. So I'm going to try that one too. Same basic principle. They're just breathing in, holding, and breathing out. Only this time you don't hold on the breathe out, and your counts obviously are 4 breathing in, hold for 7, breathe out for 8, and then immediately come back in for 4. All right, here we go. Uh, all right, good job. That's the one I used to use a lot when I was having some pretty severe anxiety issues. And then when I go to sleep nowadays, I typically will use box breathing. So feel free to use both. As my teacher once said, they're just tools, right? They're just tools. You can use them at different times, different lengths, use them however you want. My job here is kind of just to show you what you can do and share what I can do. And then we'll kind of go through it together. Okay, great. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about the fish story. If you read Wednesday's article or you listened to Thursday's podcast, um, I wrote about Zhuangzi and his little philosophical debate with Huizi standing over the river How. For those not familiar, or in case you didn't read it, which I suggest you go back, and you can because this is recorded. But essentially, Zhuangzi, an ancient Chinese philosopher, and Huizi, another real Chinese philosopher who lived at the same time, were walking, and they walked over this bridge. Zhuangzi looks down, sees a bunch of fish, and he says, "How happy these fish are." And Huizi says, "How can you know what the fish are?" And Huizi says, um, "How do you know I don't know what these fish are or how they are?" And Huizi retorts, "Well, I know you're not a fish, so surely you can't know what the fish feel or are." And Chuang's retort is, when you ask the question, "How do I know what the fish are?" You already knew that I knew the answer because I'm standing on the bridge over the river How. Now, the interesting thing is in the Chinese translation, in the English translation from Chinese, there's a pun that usually gets dropped from the translation. For example, the way I told it is typically a variation of what you'll get told. So I kind of paraphrasing or a summary, but the word "an" in Chinese has a dual meaning. It means from, it means how, and it means where. So in Chinese, Hoytz is basically asking, from where do you know the fish are happy? And so Zhuangzi retorts, "From where? From the bridge." Ha! Yeah, it's like a 2,500-year-old dad joke, but there is a philosophical point to the story as well, and that's the key. That's what I want to talk about today. When my daughter was young, just a few months old, my and she's my first kid, so I didn't know what I was doing, and I had no experience with babies at all. I didn't have younger cousins or younger siblings. I was the baby of the family, so yeah, who knows what I thought I was doing raising a child, but I did, and I remember sitting and watching her, and I noticed that if I laughed, she would laugh. And if I was sad, she would cry. Not that anything was happening to her to make her cry, but she intuitively was able to feel the emotion of not only me, but her mom as well, now my wife. And I thought that was very interesting. I couldn't really understand why. What is that? Why are babies so sensitive to the emotions of their parents? And it's not just babies. If you own a dog or you own a pet and you get sad, they come over. They can recognize those emotions. They rub up on you. They want to sit with you. Animals are very in tune to their owner's emotions as well. So this story of Chuangzi being able to understand the mind of fish is similar to that reaction from baby to parent, or maybe dog to owner, or just between animals, right? Um, so what is that? Well, in Taoism, we believe that everything is connected through the Tao. Uh, the Tao can be described in lots of ways, but the way I like to describe it is the natural flow of existence. So if you've ever seen a yin yang and you break open certain rocks, you'll see that pattern, right? That spiral pattern. You can look at a sunflower and see that spiral pattern. You can look at spiral galaxies and also see that pattern. So it would appear that there is certain things that the universe must do. Not that anyone is causing it. No one's sitting up there beating people over the head with a hammer, making universes turn into spirals, or sunflowers have little patterns inside the middle. We believe that it has to be that way because that's the way it is, or that's the way it is because it has to be that way. So the connection between all of us is the same. We can, through practice and repetition as adults, return to this childlike state. I don't mean childlike as in act like a child, right? And give up all your responsibilities and just let someone else do them for you. No, no. I mean to become very intuitive with our natural selves. So when we're kids, we can run up to another kid and we just play, right? I took my kids to the playground, and it doesn't matter what kid it is. It doesn't matter what color they are, what their background is, what their parents do for a living. No one cares. They just know that there's a kid there and they want to play. And the other kid wants to play too. But as adults, we lose this ability. In fact, I would say that we intentionally and purposefully give up this ability. We allow things like rules of society, religion, belief systems, color, gender, sexuality, whatever it is, we actively come up with new ways to divide ourselves, to subject ourselves to another rule and another rule and another rule. If we let go of all these things that we've defined ourselves and other people as, we realize that there is much, much more that brings us together, whether we're neighbors, whether we're friends or colleagues or countrymen, if you're in the US, citizens, human beings, right? There's so many different ways to describe us as equal, as one, but we really, really enjoy finding ways to divide ourselves. And these divisions is what causes us to lose that ability. So, can we get it back? Is it lost forever? No. No, it is not lost forever. Taoism would teach us that we very much can feel this connection through the Tao. And how do we do that? Well, there's a whole book on it, really. There are multiple books and ancient texts on it. But the best way I can describe it is that you need to practice being you. Whatever makes you happy, right? If you enjoy washing the dishes, if you find that that clears your head and you're able just to focus on that washing the dishes like I do, great. If it's folding laundry, perfect. If it's taking a shower, if it's hanging out with your friends or playing video games or reading a book, whatever it is, that's that's a version of the natural you. That's a piece of it. And the more pieces you're able to discover, you can actually string these pieces together and find out, hey, this is who I am. This is what I enjoy. This is what makes me me and makes you you. For me, like I said, I love doing dishes. Not that I particularly enjoy scrubbing food off of plates, but it does help me relax. It helps me focus just on the task at hand. Everything else fades away. I know Thich Nhat Hanh really enjoyed that metaphor. I didn't know about it until I was already a parent and doing dishes 2 times a day, but it works for me. Vacuuming is also another good one. I have not a large house, but like it's an okay size house, and it needs to be vacuumed often, once a week, and I am able to focus just on that task. So whatever it is for you, that's what you should do. Also, I would suggest trying to, I'm going to call it meditate, but let's not confuse the Hollywood version of meditation with a different kind of meditation. The Hollywood version of meditation is where you sit in a room full of candles, you have your shrine and maybe a ringing bell or something, and you are somehow able to clear your mind of all thoughts. I don't know about you, maybe I just need more practice. I can't do that. I cannot clear my mind of thoughts. So I was taught by Master Gu over at the Wudong Academy in the Wudong Mountains in China that everything could be meditation, right? Just like we were saying earlier, where if you're performing that action and it helps you clear your mind, that's meditation for you. Now, I also enjoy the traditional classic Hollywood version of meditation. I enjoy sitting in a quiet room for 15 minutes, 30 minutes. I really enjoy peace and quiet. But if your mind returns to thoughts, that's okay. You can allow those thoughts to come and then you can let them go. That doesn't make you a bad meditator. That makes you a human being. And if you're an American or a Westerner, I bet your mind races all the time because mine sure does. My mind races about my kids, about my wife, about my job, about the country, about our leader and everything he's doing. So it constantly is running. And that's okay. Being a Taoist means that you don't shun your emotions. You don't believe that the things that make you you are bad. I know like Buddhists believe that life is suffering and it's through the removal of suffering that you can move on to the next, you know, place. But Taoists have a little bit different viewpoint of it. We believe that you are natural and perfect just the way you are. There's nothing to get rid of because you are the way you are naturally. That's not to say that you can't improve yourself, that you can't have goals, that you can't accomplish things or behaviors that you um, think would improve your future, your state of mind. That's great. It's good to have goals. Um, However, if you discover that this goal is very difficult to reach, don't beat yourself over the head about it, right? It's okay to be frustrated, but let that frustration go and move on. If you have a sad day, someone tells you something, you break up, you get a divorce, someone passes away, it's okay to feel sad. That's not, you're not broken because you feel sad or angry, even if it's for a while, even if it's for weeks. That's okay. That's who you are. That's how nature gave you life, and nothing about you is broken or you're not supposed you're not supposed to be anything. You're not supposed to be anywhere. You are where you are, and you act the way you act, and you feel the emotions you're feeling. That's it. That's all there is. Okay. And none of that is wrong. So letting that go is the challenge, right? Letting that emotion flow outwardly from you is hard and it's difficult. And that's where meditation comes in. I remember when my ears started ringing. So I have tinnitus, especially in my right ear, which is a really loud series of pitches that never gets quiet ever. 24 hours a day, middle of the night, it never goes away. And that brings on lots of anxiety, panic attacks, stress, no sleep, insomnia for weeks and weeks. I think it went on for like 6 weeks before I finally was able to sleep more than just 2 or 3 hours. So I basically zombified for a while. But what I realized is I couldn't make the sound go away. But what I could do is adapt to what reality sounded like. So for many of you, if you go into a quiet room, you shut the door and you turn off the lights and close your eyes, you hear what existence sounds like. And you would call it silence, right? For me, If I go into a closed room and I turn off the lights and I close my eyes and everything is silent and nobody's home, my existence sounds different than yours. And that's okay, right? It's nothing to fear. It's nothing to be angry about. It's nothing to be resentful for. It simply is the way reality sounds to me. And that's okay. And when I was finally able to believe that and understand that, then breathing got easier. Then getting back into my breathing exercises like we went through at the beginning of this stream got easier. And when that got easier, my day to day got easier. And when that got easier, sleeping came back. And that's the way it is. That's what I've experienced. So I hope through this discussion that you've come to realize that we are connected and that we can connect back to this source. We can return ourselves to who we are really. And when other people around you, or even on the other side of the world, do the same thing, you are connected to them in a very real sense. You can get scientific about it and say the air we breathe is taken in by plants and given off, and someone in the world can breathe in the same air, or we pass away and we become ash and that gets into the atmosphere and then gets hit by a neutrino and you get a part of you is blasted out into space to float forever, maybe become a star or a planet. That's scientific. It may be very the percentage of that happening might be very, very small, but it's not outside the realm of possibility, right? Statistically possible. So we all are connected and we all can be a more natural, I don't want to say normal, but a more natural, intuitive version of who we are. All right, guys, it's been 23 minutes. So I hope you enjoyed the lesson for today. I hope you enjoyed the breathing exercises we did. I'm going to get this back up on Substack later. I'll do some editing, maybe put some intro music. I'll release it as a podcast as well. So if you find the Taoist Corner podcast on basically any podcast network or just here on Substack, then I hope you check it out. All right, guys. Thanks, Pauline. Bye.